Barnstable this morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live in studio, Town Manager Tom Lynch. Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Well, it was a nice way to start the morning at 6:15, 6:10, seeing that sunrise come up. It was just spectacular this morning.
Really pretty.
Of course, the old saying, you know, red in the morn, sailors take warn. So we'll see if there's a little weather coming in this afternoon. But it was just spectacular this morning. It was really pretty.
Yep, that's usually pretty right on. When you see that red in the sky, there's a little precipitation coming in the next day or so. So last week you talked with Lenny a little bit about the capital improvement projects that are planned for the enterprise fund, and today we're going to continue talking a little bit more about the CIP, but focus on the general fund expenditures.
Yeah, last week we looked at 23 proposals that are coming out of those enterprise funds, and as we discussed, those are funds where fees or other sources of funding other than general tax revenue are supporting those programs. So now we get into the projects that really funded through taxpayer dollars that we shift into a capital trust fund to enable us to do various projects. And we cover in this year's capital improvement plan basically 4 areas. We look at the infrastructure improvements, we look at municipal facility improvements, we've got water quality improvements, and finally schools and the improvements that they were looking for. So there are 20 projects all told under the general fund recommendations, and I'd like to go through a few of them.
Absolutely.
So people get an idea of the types of priorities that we're trying to set. There are 8 proposals under the infrastructure, and that totals over $5 million, and that will cover our public roads maintenance program. It'll cover some new school zone traffic lights that are actually going to be solar powered, try to save a little money that way. All of our guardrails and sidewalks, we put aside about $400,000 for that. And I should say that the town council's been just great about supporting particularly the public roads maintenance program with $3.25 million over the last several years. It's enabled us to catch up and begin to really get a handle on long-term maintenance of our public roads. And then we're going to do the Bay Street boat ramp. We've done some work on the revetment area on that earlier this year, finished that up. We're going to add private roads asset management reviews to the system that we now have. And with putting aside $55,000 there, we'll go out and survey all those private roads so we can get an idea of which are in the worst shape, how we prioritize those. Our whole road maintenance system is geared on a rating system, and we try to professionally look at where the needs are and what we can tackle next within our budgetary limits. And then we do have under the private roads program, which is new this year, we'll be funding the repaving of 4 roads in town that have long come to the attention of folks. We'll be doing over at Wakeby and Mary Dunn Road, Old Strawberry Hill Road, and High Street in West Barnstable. So that's almost that's about a $730,000 appropriation. And then we also have site work that we want to do at Joshua's Pond. So those are all the infrastructure things we'll be looking at. We have 3 municipal facilities. We'll be finishing up the police improvements, police station improvements that we've been doing over there. We'd like to demolish the portables that are at the Marston's Mills Elementary School that's been vacant for some time, and Marston's Mills West, as they call it, and because we're hoping to lease that out, and the folks coming in, if we finalize the lease with them, don't want those there. They're old, they're deteriorated, don't need that space. And then there's a renovation to our town hall heating system. Both with the town hall heating system and under the schools, there are boiler replacement upgrades. Those are projects where we hope to then realize savings because we have antiquated and we're spending a lot of money on heat and electricity here. So any way that we can bring those costs down. For instance, under the schools, we were successful through David Anthony and others that put together a grant through the Department of Energy Resources where successful in getting a $525,000 grant for a cogeneration system. We're going to put under the schools $50,000 in there. When that system is put in, we expect to realize over $43,000 in savings for heat and electricity because of the way that the system saves the energy, stores it, and then reuses it. So any of those improvements, we're looking for then savings somewhere in our operating budget later on. There are 3 water quality items. Hamlin Pond, we're going to do an alum treatment, and that was really a pond that was quite polluted last year, and this would take care of that for like a 20-year period. So that's wonderful. It's a $300,000 investment, but it's got a long-term payment. And then we're trying to tackle hydrilla at the Mystic Lake and Middle Pond and Long Pond. Under the schools come in for really 7 proposals, well over $8 million. So there, we're getting to some very needed repairs there. The town council was very concerned about the elementary school module classroom that they had. So that's that project came in at $3.7 million. So there'll be classroom replacement, get rid of all those modulars. They took them down for the Early Learning Center over at Hyannis West, and it's just like, it's like a breath of fresh air not to see those really deteriorating, old.
And those have been around for quite some time.
Many years.
A couple of decades at least. So it'll be nice to see that moving away from that.
And then I think the schools are really excited to finish off some of their technology initiatives that they've had. They've got some roof replacements over at the charter school that they're looking to do design work there, and then have to look at that next year. And they also have some boiler upgrades. I already mentioned the cogeneration, but they're also looking at their heating systems to try to bring in modern, efficient systems that again can reduce our utility load. Talked a little bit about this last week, but when I look at the costs, and we had a very interesting meeting with the Cape managers, and actually all managers across the Cape, on healthcare costs, and we see how they keep escalating. We're seeing the same thing with utilities. We've been good about trying to get long-term contracts and kind of lock them in, but what people are feeling at home with their utility cost increases, we feel those also. So any way we can reduce those, put systems in that reduce those costs, I think it would be beneficial to the taxpayer in the long run. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how do these general fund expenditures recommendations compare to previous years? Is this pretty much on par with in terms of the projects?
The types of projects are somewhat similar. This is a fairly robust program. So we're being fairly aggressive this year, but there are some big ticket items. The Barnstable Intermediate School facade project is over $3 million, and of course the project at the with the modules 3.7. So right there you're up over almost $7 million. So we're it's needed work, and but we're very careful about looking out over the next 5 years to make sure that we have the funding for this, can spend and stay within our means. So what we're going to be doing is this Thursday we'll Mark Milne and Mark Els and I will be before the town council to make a presentation on how we develop the plan, why we choose the projects we do. We're going to look back at past projects to say, here's where you invested your money, here's where we are in the process of trying to meet these facility and infrastructure needs. And I have to say that the schools, when I first became assistant town manager, they really didn't have a long-term capital plan the way the town was operating under. And this administration has been very, diligent about coming forward with a 5-year plan and looking forward. So some of their needs had been delayed perhaps, and now they're we're being able to address them. So we'll look at all of those needs, and then on April 16th, the various departments will start with their presentations and voting on it. So in essence, after our presentation on this Thursday, they'll do a first reading of each of these items, and then we'll do the presentations and debate on them on the 16th,
Sweet.
and probably beyond.
Indeed, we certainly are getting into the thick of it when it comes to budget season. Going to occupy a lot of time and town council time for the next couple of months.
Well, and we take a lot of time developing this, so the town council needs time to examine each item, find out if it's justified. If they don't want to fund it, they can rescind the funding, and so we'll listen to them carefully and hope that they support our plan. But in the past, when a project has been delayed or pulled back, it's generally been for a good reason, and we accept that the decisions of the legislative body.
Great. Well, Tom, I thank you so much as always for stopping by. Great to keep our viewers informed about this important budget process, and hopefully we're getting steps to make sure that everybody understands what's going on.
Thank you very much,
Great.
Sarah.
Thanks so much, Tom. Tom Lynch, of course, our town manager. We're going to talk with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Mary Chakowski, next here on Barnstable This Morning.